What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Rican Brothers RaiderNation podcast. My deepest apologies for missing out the last two shows. I just had some personal stuff in life come up, and my schedule with work was kind of all over the place. And with the holidays and everything, it just, it was really tough. I don't do this for pay. I do it more for just to get more subscribers, just to spread kind of the information and do this kind of at my leisure at the times that I do have, just because I am passionate about it. And I do, appreciate all the viewership and just want, to continue growing the channel. Please like, subscribe, and share and help us grow. But let's talk about it. The Raiders won their last two games. The one against the Browns and then also against the Denver Broncos, and their playoff hopes are still alive. And we have the upcoming matchup with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I'll just kind of give my thoughts on the Browns game. I know there was a ton of inactives for the Cleveland Browns, and we should have won by a lot more, just by the personnel that we had available versus their personnel and who the quarterback was, with Nick Mullins as the quarterback for them. And he actually did beat us before when he was in San Francisco, but another time, another game. As far as that's concerned, Derek Carr, it's just, I like the guy, I do, but I don't think he's the answer. I think he would be great on another team, but I appreciate, the positives that he's done for the Raiders. I can't say this enough. I've been called a Derek Carr hater and a basher, whatever, by all the Kardashians, you know what I'm saying? And listen, is he good, in retrospect to who we've had? Yeah. He's still not better than Rich Gannon, just because Rich Gannon did have more success. And every quarterback goes through their woes, whether it be turnovers or whatever the case may be, mental, or just, getting accustomed to the playbook, meshing with the players, whatever the case may be. Carr's been in our system for 8 years. And the most troubling stat that I can tell you is he has 11 interceptions alone, or 11 times he's at least had an interception, one or more, in 11 games out of the 16 games we played, or the 15 games we played. Sorry, not including the bye week, because obviously they don't play, but that in itself is troubling, along with that, the fumbles as well. So when you're doing those kind of numbers, I mean, let's just do it real quick. For the percentage, we're looking at 73% of the time you're turning over the ball when you're playing. That's terrible. Ball security is everything, especially for success in the NFL as a quarterback. This is the 8th year, and he has a 73% basically chance that he's going to turn over the ball. If you look at just for the season, 11 or more interceptions in 15 games, and that's not even the fumbles. So that's my beef with him. Again, when he's on, he's on. What Derek Carr are you going to get? It really depends. Yes, he did enough. In the Cleveland Browns game, we had 2 turnovers. Derek Carr was bailed out by Daniel Carlson, but he did do what he needed to do to get the ball down the field and put us in a position to, get that field goal and get the win. And I believe that we definitely should have been better against a diminished Cleveland Browns team. But at the end of the day, like the slogan, the Raiders just win, baby. We did just that. So those are kind of all my thoughts on that game. Moving along to the Broncos game, going up against Drew Lock. I mean, I kind of knew we were going to win, just because the history against Drew Lock with his Raiders team, even with a worse off defense, the Raiders defense played an amazing game as far as that's concerned. I mean, when you look at, what we did, I would say the defense and offensive line were the premier highlights of that game. As far as the turnovers, we had 3 turnovers. So it was almost a pick six, a fumble sack, and then the Josh Jacobs, fumble. So it's just, again, going back to Derek Carr, if you're the leader of the team, you take the most accountability and the most on your shoulders. So when you're bad, you need to, chop it up to your performance, be accountable for it. You don't just get the glory when you win, because they always want to give him all the glory when he wins. But I mean, hey, listen, he did everything possible to put us in a disadvantageous position, and the defense bailed him out. The offensive line single-handedly bailed him out by the run blocking that they had for Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs made up for his fumble. You know what I'm saying? When you turn over the ball, it's all about how you respond. And I think Josh Jacobs did an excellent job. He was running angry. The offensive line was aggressive. They were really getting to their blocks. They were putting men on the ground. They were opening up holes. And again, I'm not saying Derek Carr is bad. I just know that he's not for us moving forward if we really want to get to where this franchise wants to be headed, because with the new stadium, the new city, the new personnel we have that's young and up and coming, the pieces that we have in place, I think it would be a mistake to extend Derek Carr, even though I know there's been a lot of adversity. And, we can sit here and say, oh, we don't have this player. We don't have this player. The coach is gone. This guy's gone forever, the injuries and everything like that. But at the end of the day, what do you do when adversity hits? How do you perform when adversity hits? How do guys rally around you when adversity hits? And listen, this coaching staff is going to have a turnover. God willing, please. I think we definitely need it. We need aggressive coaching. We need disciplined, consistent coaching, and we just need accountability, from the top down. And I think it's something that it lingers and lacks within this organization. And I think Mark Davis really needs to be, honest with himself and say, hey, listen, this is who I've hired in the past seasons, and this is kind of what the results have been. Granted the circumstances, listen, this is life. Adversity hits. You need to sack up. You need to overcome adversity, lock in, get with the people who are your strength to your team, and, stand behind them and get with them to get on course so you don't get off the path. Because, the worst thing that had happened this season, that me personally, that I would say to the Raiders organization, is the death of John Madden. So rest in peace to one of the best coaches the Raiders have ever had, one of the best announcers, and just the legends of the NFL. Many prayers and blessings go out to his family so they can heal through this time. I became a Raiders fan because of John Madden, even though, he coached before I was alive. He was the reason why I was a Raiders fan. And, it's a tragedy that we lost that piece of the Raiders history. But the thing is he did such a phenomenal job to cement his name in history with the Raiders organization, with the NFL, and even the young kids today, with the Madden NFL game. It's just one of those things that it's going to live on forever. And he created a legacy. And I think that's the one thing that the Raiders organization is global. Back in the day, they were known for winning. As of, 2002 on, there hasn't been much success. We've had one winning season since then. But you have to kind of analyze, what have we done wrong? Where can we get better? And where do different decisions need to be made? And I think that's all on Mark Davis. And it starts from the top down. And I think the biggest thing we could do is, get a good GM in here, get a good coaching staff in here with the head coach. And I think really the only coach that I really want to keep is Ron Miles. I mean, if we're going to be honest, I think Gus Bradley has done enough to have a decent defense. I was expecting more out of him. But listen, when you're going up against the Chiefs, everyone's playing two high safety. You play one high safety. You get your ass whooped the first time. Second time, it's like even worse. You're obviously not making the adjustments that need to be made as a coach who's leading the defense, who's a defensive play caller, and you're not reviewing the film well enough to get your players in position to make those plays and put them in the alignments that they need to succeed. So that tells me that you're not it. At the end of the day, you're not it, because we want to win. We want to do the most we can just to put these players in the positions to succeed. And if you're continuously letting the same things happen over and over again, like you're obviously not learning. You're not up to speed. So we need to move on. Hey, some people might not like it, but I really don't care. I think we could still re-sign Yannick Ngakoue because I think he definitely needs to be re-signed. I think Denzel Perryman needs to be re-signed. I think there's, some players that we do need to keep on the defense. Casey Hayward, another one, just because, the mentorship that he's provided to these young players. I mean, we have a nice core of Nate Hobbs and Merrick, Divine Diablo, Malcolm Kuntz, on the line. You got Max Crosby. You got Solomon Thomas, Jonathan Hankins, the list goes on. And it's just one of those things. Even Darius Philon, I think Darius Philon is great as well. And, I just think that there's some players that really need to stay, even though that, if the system does change, I think you could still get the most out of them. So that's just my thoughts, just because, against the Broncos, just was one of those things where Carr didn't have the best day, not by far. He did enough to win, but he had a lot of help from the defense and the offensive line, which is something that we really haven't been able to say much about as far as the offensive line is concerned, just because they have been playing a lot better, though. They've been trending up. I want to give a big shout out to Andre James, because I think from week 7 on, he's ranked within the top 7 in all categories, maybe 8th or 9th in some of those. But, hey, man, hell of a turnaround as far as, giving him that time to develop and, work into the system and just get better. I mean, him, Jonathan Simpson shows at times with Colton Miller, and, Leatherwood has been, progressing. I know that right side of the line is a little questionable at times, but Brandon Parker, I definitely see is going to be gone next year, just because I don't see that being something that is a strength of ours, maybe a backup at very most. But, with the Denver game, with all the turnovers, we still found a way to win. That defense was playing lights out. Let me see real quick here. Just want to see. So they gave up 158 total yards, the defense gave up. And they only had 8 first downs, Denver did. So to me, the only thing that really would have jumped off the sheet is the turnovers that we caused for Denver, because they had 0 turnovers and we had 3. But hey, at the end of the day, they did everything they needed to do to put that offense in position to play. And listen, Darren Waller being gone is a huge miss. Brian Edwards last game, he was also out. And, we have a lot of people out on COVID coming up for this game. So let's see, for the Indianapolis Colts game. Let me check it out here real quick. Looks like, let me just pull it up here real quick. Because I know the Colts did activate some players here. They got Jaleel Ade, TJ Carey, linebacker Malik Jefferson. They got Darius Leonard back, which is, it's just one of those things where it's kind of jacked up, because they went ahead and changed the COVID protocols, the week that we end up playing the Colts, just because, of all the players that were affected. And it just seems like, I'm not saying the league's against us, but they definitely don't give us the edge in any situations where it is advantageous to us. I know the Browns game, they even moved back, and still there were so many people. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough against the Colts. I'm going to still try to pull this up here. I know I know Carson Wentz is on the COVID reserve, but, with the new protocols in place, it's going to look like, there is a chance he could play. As far as, let's see here. Quentin Jefferson, man, that's another defensive player that we're looking at. I mean, we're looking at, let's see here. We got, where's my guys for the COVID list for the Raiders? Let's see here. COVID list for Raiders. So we got Brandon Faison back, and then we also got Jermaine Illuminor back. We got Roderick Teamer back, but Darren Waller did get moved to the COVID list along with Kendall Vickers. Let's see here. There's a total of 11 Raiders that are on the COVID-19 list, and that is going to hurt us. And they're mostly all on defense. So that's the biggest thing. Let's see here. So the players, Casey Hayward, Corey Littleton, Patrick Onwuzar, Denzel Perryman, Darius Philon, and KJ Wright. Those are all, people who, Denzel Perryman's on it, Corey Littleton, those are starters right there. And it's not looking good right now. But the good thing is with the protocols that they have in place, it definitely is something that we can overcome as far as, as long as they test well and they test negative, then, we're good to go, because the time frame got moved down to 5 days rather than 10. So looking at the Raiders and the Colts game, right? So they play on Sunday, January 2nd, 2022. They do have a game at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be at 11. And the odds of this game here. So let me just throw out some things here. It looks like, who the hell is it at? The Raiders are 4-3 away, which is good. It's a positive, right? They're over 500. And the Colts are 4-4 at home. Right now, the Raiders sit at 8-7. Colts sit at 9-6. So this is like a make or break game because they have to win the next two games. Essentially, the Raiders do in order to get into the playoffs. Right now, there's a 5.5 point spread with the Colts favored. And it looks like the over under is 43.5. So 43.5 total points, with the Colts being, the ones who are favored in this game. Now, with all those players on the COVID list and, things going the way they have been for the Raiders, I am a little scared. Jonathan Taylor is an amazing running back. If Carson Wentz is in, you got your go-to guy who's been hot lately. It looks like Indianapolis is 6-1 in its last 7 games. We are 8-4 against the spread in the last 12 games against Indianapolis. So that's a positive. It's just one of those things where you don't know which Derek Carr you're going to get. Or if we don't have Darren Waller again, which we absolutely need him in this game, it's going to be a little scary. Brian Edwards should be back. Hunter Renfrow has obviously been off the charts for us this year. If we have another game by Josh Jacobs and Peyton Barber, I feel a lot better on offense. But, ball security is going to be the number one thing for Derek Carr in this offense. And it's going to be something that we're going to have to hone in on. It's just, when it comes down to games like this, where you have to win these next 2 games, because we play the Colts now, then we play the Chargers, and then pretty much, however that plays out, as long as we can get into the playoffs, I really don't care how it happens. As long as we get in, we're in. We are a playoff bound. People are weird. Like, I don't care. Just win. Just win the game, okay? We can worry about Derek Carr and whether or not he's going to get an extension after the season, after Mark Davis evaluates things, because he's going to be the one who's going to kind of choose. And then obviously with your coach that comes in, that's just pretty much going to be the big determining factor on what the fate is for a lot of these players moving in to the next season. But we have to take it one game at a time. The culture in front of us right now, they've been a hot team. We need to slow them down. The defense, we obviously need them healthy and off of this COVID protocol in order to have a chance, because they've been really hot. The loss of Jonathan Abram has just been gut-wrenching, I think, but we actually played really well. But he's been a hot player on defense. He's been all over. Nate Hobbs did not play much last game. He only played on special teams. So I'm hoping he can get ramped back up, and I'm hoping Malcolm Kuntz plays, because he was inactive for whatever reason last game, which doesn't make much sense. Because the guy was hot when he came in, and it's like, okay, let's just shut down a hot player just because, for whatever reason, they didn't really give much. He was just on the inactive roster as far as when game day came around. Now, Jermaine Illuminor, I have no idea why he hasn't been on the offensive line starting over Brandon Parker, because he is a tackle, even though he did play guard. He is a tackle, and he played that for the Patriots and the Ravens. Why he hasn't filled in for Brandon Parker since, Brandon Parker's not good at all, still a head scratcher for me. That I feel like that could have been a major factor for us on that right side, especially I would rather Alex Leatherwood learn from Illuminor than from Brandon Parker. You're going to learn bad habits from Parker. You're going to see a guy who gets beat a lot. He can't deal with the bull rush, and his hands are just not the best. So in this, with the Colts, they have a great defense. Darius Leonard is a highlight reel, on defense. I mean, he makes amazing plays. He's a captain of that defense. He has those guys disciplined. And for the Raiders, this is going to be a true testament. Like, how bad do you want the playoffs this year, right? So as far as like our offense is concerned, Peyton Barber and Josh Jacobs need to show up in the running game. The offensive line needs to remain aggressive like they did last game, which I'm not sure why it took a full half for that to happen, but it's been the story of, the season. Come out, not firing on all cylinders, a little flat, play from behind. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't. The games that we come out and we're buzzing and things are clicking, we end up, winning by 2 or more scores. So I'm not really sure what the issue is. I think Greg Olsen needs to get with Derek Carr and just kind of come up with a solid game plan. Watch some of the tape where the Colts kind of fell short a little bit on defense and then exploit that and then put their foot on the gas. That's the one thing that I've really noticed about this Raiders team is they're not really aggressive enough. When they have like a lead, that's when you need to be more aggressive. Don't just, dink and dunk and do these little runs and settle for, 3 and outs and all that shit. It's just, it's not going to work. You need to be more aggressive when you have a lead, when you're up, and you need to put your foot on their neck. Because, when it comes to stuff like this, it's just one of those things where it's like, let's just get it done. And, with everything that's been happening with, just the Derek Carr run offense. It's just one of those things where it's like, when are we going to see the Derek Carr that we saw the first 4 games or the first 3 games at least? Because the 4th game, we kind of have faith, as far as like the second half of that Chargers game. But I mean, the first 3 games we were doing well. And yes, we had Henry Ruggs, but you got to play with the players that are in front of you and that are active on the roster. I don't care. Leaders find a way to win. They find a way to pick apart defenses and they exploit the weakness. That's something that Derek Carr falls short of. And I think that it's been something that's missing from this team as far as, all the adversity they've went through. Yes, they've had a hard year, but at the same time, this is real life. Shit happens and you need to kind of come together. You got men in that building that are willing to, run through brick walls for you and just follow behind you. So you got to lead with, that strength and that adversity that you can overcome and just say, hey, listen, I know what we had. This is what we have now. This is where we're at. Let's go out and do anything we can. And limiting the turnovers is going to be a big key to this game for Derek Carr and this offense. Yes, the run game is going to be something, but I'd like to see them run some screens and I'd like them, go to the tight end a little bit more just because, find the first down. Do what you got to do. Darren Waller, I know, is kind of a toss-up as far as this game, but we need to keep the defense off the field because if we're not going to be at full strength, that's going to be something that, the Colts can capitalize on with their running game and their passing game. They have a good passing game as well. So what I'm looking for in this game is the offense to be more aggressive. I'm looking for them to be big up front and establish the run and then just, keep things going because, the Colts have been hot. We need to cool them off. And as far as the defense, I think we need to see a little bit from Gus Bradley, a little bit more blitzing, put the pressure on. I'm not sure if Carson Wentz is going to play at this point. It's kind of a toss-up. He can be ready to play just with the new protocols in place. But, if we do get a backup or that rookie playing in this place, we need to be aggressive. We need to attack him. And, our run defense has been a lot better. So that is one thing that I really am going to key in on. Let's hope for a turnover or two in this game. That's really going to help seal a victory and keep us in this playoff run. And just aggressive on offense. We need to be aggressive on offense, minimize the run game because Jonathan Taylor is a beast, and just put pressure on the quarterback. I know it sounds simple, but if we can do those three things, we can get out of this victorious. And I know this video was kind of quick, and I know I just kind of went over some things. I just don't have a lot of time. I'm about getting ready to, start work here pretty soon, and I just kind of wanted to do this here. Check in with you guys. Life's kind of been up and down, but I promise you that I will be putting out another video here for the Raiders game, post game, and I will give you my score prediction. I know I usually do it at the beginning, but my score prediction for this one is 27-24. I think the Raiders actually come out of this one on top, and I think they pull it off. I think the defense ends up making a late stop. And I think, this is something where the offense actually gets going this game, and we are able to kind of, outlast COVID and the protocols. So I think that we will end up coming out victorious 27-24 over the Colts, keeps our playoff hopes alive, and we go into the Chargers with everything on the line. So again, thanks again, guys, for tuning into the Rican Brothers Raider Nation podcast. Love you all. Thanks again for all the subscribers. Appreciate you guys being patient with me and just, viewing the content as it comes out. Again, my deepest apologies for missing the last two shows, but, life does come up. Got to kind of, work on the fly, and my availability has been extremely limited, especially with, me having a new addition coming to the family. Just trying to have a baby boy, and just kind of been working around the clock. So love you all, man. Peace out. Rican Brothers Raider Nation podcast. Let's go Raiders. Let's win this one for John Madden, and y'all stay blessed.